I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2013. Israeli security forces announced today that a member of Islamic Jihad, who was responsible for a bus bombing that injured 29 Israeli civilians in Tel Aviv last year, was killed by the IDF during a shootout today. 28-year-old Muhammad Atzi of the Palestinian village of Beit Lechia was killed in an exchange of fire with IDF soldiers at a cave hideout near the West Bank village of Belin. Israeli security agency the Shin Bet had spent months tracking down the terrorist and launched an operation to apprehend him early this morning, with forces from the Shin Bet as well as the IDF and Israel police. According to a senior army source, the Israeli forces circled the cave where Atzi was hiding out. He refused to surrender and opened fire on IDF forces. IDF soldiers then fired 2 anti-tank missiles in return, and Atzi was killed. Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon said today that although there has been a rise in terror attacks in the West Bank over the last month, he did not see the signs of a third intifada or popular uprising. Ya'alon said, "We don't see the motivation for this or preparations for this, and we are doing everything in our power to prevent it." He made the comments during a tour of Hebron today, where he noted that 6 terror attacks had taken place in the West Bank over the past month, but he added that the attacks were carried out by individuals and not by or with the backing of groups like Fatah or Hamas. Ya'alon also said that recent attacks would not affect Israel's decision to free Palestinian security prisoners as part of current peace talks with the Palestinians. Ya'alon said as long as the process is ongoing, we are obligated to free the pre-Oslo prisoners. I expect that we will go forward with the next prisoner release. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said yesterday that peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians were intensifying. Kerry told journalists at a joint press conference with the foreign minister of Qatar after meeting with Arab League officials in Paris. He said of the talks that the pace has intensified. All the core issues are on the table, and they have been meeting with increased intensity. Kerry acknowledged at the same time that the process of peace negotiations was a very difficult one, and said the leaders on both sides understand what is at stake and have taken risks to bring both parties to the table. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to meet with Secretary of State Kerry tomorrow in Rome. A 5th earthquake has hit northern Israel this morning. The Geophysical Institute of Israel said that the quake's epicenter was 5 kilometers northeast of Kibbutz Ginosar near Lake Kinneret. Today's quake measured 3.3 on the Richter scale. No damage or injury was reported. The Kinneret has been the center of the last 4 quakes to hit the area in about a week. In light of the recent quakes, the IDF sent out a statement yesterday calling on Israeli citizens to review their knowledge of earthquake preparedness and procedures. And the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Subcommittee for Home Front Preparedness will hold a meeting on the subject next Monday. The Anti-Defamation League yesterday issued a list of the top 10 most influential and active anti-Israel groups in the United States. ADL National Director Abe Foxman said the top 10 anti-Israel groups are the most significant players in the domestic anti-Israel movement today, adding that according to the ADL's research, the groups are fixated on delegitimizing Israel and convincing the American public that Israel is an international villain that deserves to be ostracized and isolated. The ADL identified the top 10 anti-Israel groups as ANSWER, which stands for Act Now to Stop Racism, American Muslims for Palestine, Code Pink, Friends of Sabeel North America, If Americans New Council for National Interest, the Jewish Voice for Peace, the Muslim Public Affairs Council, Neturei Karta, Students for Justice for Palestine, and the U.S. Campaign to End the Israeli Occupation. Foxman said the list represents the worst of the worst anti-Israel groups. They lob any and every accusation against Israel, including charges of Nazi-like crimes, apartheid policies, ethnic cleansing, war crimes, and genocide. Foxman said their accusations are rarely, if ever, balanced with an acknowledgement of Israel's repeated efforts to make peace with the Palestinians or the legitimate terrorism concern faced by Israeli citizens. Among the Jewish groups on the list was Neturei Karta, which is new to the list this year. The ultra-Orthodox group is opposed to the existence of the State of Israel on religious grounds, and according to the IDL, they expound a very extreme agenda and have regularly aligned with international anti-Semites, Islamic extremists, and groups that advocate violence against Israel. The Jewish Voice for Peace is not new to the list. According to the ADL, the group intentionally exploits Jewish culture and rituals in an effort to convince other Jews that opposition to Israel does not contradict but is consistent with Jewish values. The ADL also noted several anti-Israel groups that no longer rank in the top 10, as they have scaled down the type of activity that merited their inclusion. They include the International Solidarity Movement, Al-Auda, the Muslim American Society, and the Council on American Islamic Relations. The Jewish Week reports that the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee announced plans to open the first ever modern Jewish community center in Poland's capital of Warsaw. The center is being funded by the JDC as well as the Taub Foundation for Jewish Life and Culture and the Koret Foundation, among other donors. The JCC, which is the second in Poland, will offer a variety of Jewish educational, cultural, and community programs and activities. JDC's CEO Alan Grill said the opening of the JCC is yet another chapter in the remarkable story of the revival of Jewish life in this country. Gill said it's a testament to the perseverance of Polish Jews that they are continuing to rebuild their institutions after surviving near annihilation, followed by decades of oppression. Poland today is home to approximately 25,000 Jews. The country's first JCC, supported by the JDC, opened in Krakow in 2008 and has become a fixture in the life of the local community there. The new center in Warsaw is set to be dedicated on October the 27th. The Charles and Lynn Shusterman Philanthropic Network has launched a new microgrants initiative called Make It Happen. The initiative invites individuals to submit ideas for creating Jewish experiences in their communities. The Shusterman Network will select up to 50 ideas from around the world to receive microgrants of up to $1,000 over the next few months. Chair Lynn Shusterman said Make It Happen is designed to empower young people to take that initial or next step on a leadership journey. She said for many young Jews, these small grants embody a first yes and a realization that the Jewish community values and is willing to invest in what they have to contribute to ensuring a vibrant Jewish future. And finally, tonight on L'Chaim on Shalom TV, award-winning Egyptian human rights activist Dalia Ziada joins Mark Golub to talk about the current situation in Egypt, including her own experience being in Tahrir Square during the revolution of 2010, and her feelings for the Jewish people and for the State of Israel. That's tonight at 9 o'clock here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.